Oh, sucky now. Hell yeah. I know my dogs are watching, and if you ain't, I know you will be. And if you are watching and you ain't my dog yet, you will be. Thank you for coming back and tuning in once again to the Get Busy Living podcast. We're coming at you with verse 8. And I know, look, there's a lot of y'all that give me messages each day telling me about my story being inspirational. And I got to tell you, when I get messages like that, you telling me that you heard about this or you seen that or something popped me into your brain, whether it's inspiration or it's a new revelation, like some sort of new technology, that means the world to me, y'all. Thank you so much to each and every one of you that reach out to me regularly and say, hey, I was thinking about you. So I'm going to get busy living with y'all today. But before we get anywhere forward, please welcome to the stage my dazzling co-host, Miss D Rex.
Thank you once again. So happy to be here. So happy to see everybody. This is going to be so fun. I can't even tell you about it.
Yes.
Can't even
yes.
You guys don't even know what we have in store for you today, or maybe you do because you saw some of Swede's updates earlier, but this is going to be a very exciting show. Once again, if you're here, please say hi in the chat box because we like to see who you are. So make sure you pop up and say hello. We want to make part of what you're thinking part of our conversation. So you can be part of the show if you're talking to us in the comments. It's really fun. So make sure you do say hello.
Yes, get us at us in the comments, y'all. Because what we want to do is we want to see y'all chatting with each other. We want to see y'all chatting with us. And this is a huge project. Listen, I know this is huge, and you probably haven't gotten a chance to wrap your brain around it yet. But the goal is to get busy living with you. You guys saved my life, and I found out via getting my life saved that I owed you guys a huge party. So this project is my effort to give you your money's worth and throw you that party. Okay, so please get at me at hello@getbusyliving.com. You can get at me if you want to be a guest in the show. You can get at me if you have a destination for the Get Busy Living project to come to. Just get at me if you have any ideas about people that could use our help. Get at me. The point is, get at me in the chat box. Get at us so that we can bring you on stage. Get at us on our emails, and just get at us because we're trying to come get at you. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. We are going to be traveling together. We're going to be taking this podcast all over the place. We're going to get out and see you. So
yes,
definitely make yourself known through email, through the chat, through any way you can get at us. We want to talk to you because that's what this whole thing is about. It's about human connections. You know Swede. Well, if you don't know him, you're going to know that he's going to connect with you. And you're not going to be able to unconnect with him because because he's a magical connector. And we got to thinking earlier this week about the way humans connect through storytelling. And I do think, Swede, that you are one of the best storytellers I've ever met. And I was also just thinking about like how long storytelling's been going on. You know, it's been going on forever. It's like the most human thing there is. So if anybody would like to tell a really crazy story today, make sure you get at us in the chat box. But I think that it would be even more fun since it's almost Halloween. If you have a really good ghost story, you can write it to us in the comments, or, you know, if you want to hit Swede up and like get on here and maybe tell your ghost story, we'll see if we have time for that. But it could be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of crazy stories today.
I got a story about stories, and I love this idea of Halloween stories because, first of all, I'm going to tell you, we'll get to our ghost story, all right? But before I get to that ghost story, which is the ghost story that brought us together, remember us talking about that like back in the summer?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm definitely going to share that with y'all later. But the story about me is, you said that I'm a good storyteller, and I got to give props off to Grams, man. That's where I got that from. You know, Grams, these nuts, Grams would come home. She would come home from, like, I would stay up late at night, you know, because Grams was always asleep in the mornings when I went to school. So I'd stay up and wait for her to come home from work. And she would tell me the crazy stories about what she did that night. And Grams worked in bars, loved her to death. And then she eventually was doing babysitting when the stories got less entertaining. But she would come home and tell me about the stuff that she did each night. And I just remember it. My most fond memories as a child is like being on the couch at like midnight and Grams be sitting there like drinking a Strohs and smoking a cigarette and telling me about her friends that did this or her friend that did that. And I would just be in awe of her. And so the original storyteller is Graham. So there's a lot of y'all that have been guests on the show or that will be guests on the show that have been in the chat box that know Graham. So shout out to Graham for that because the storytelling comes from her for sure.
She must have been awesome because she raised you to be who you are.
Oh, get off. Come on, man. You know, I'm very susceptible to flattery. And I'm
Listen,
not even,
I
I'm
know,
not,
but that's like as sweet as I get, and it's not going to happen again.
you caught me off guard. And speaking of catching off guards, speaking of guards, I'm gonna have some guards on tonight. My girl Paloma is coming over after the show tonight at the after party to cut my hair because we're going to Hollywood for Halloween.
Oh my gosh, you just blew through all the stuff I was going to do. Where are we going?
Hollywood.
Okay. And what are we doing tonight?
Paloma. I don't know why I feel like that stuff and my stuff is like, you always get, I've seen it before and it still catches me off guard.
You're going to get your mop chopped so that you can go to LA for Halloween. That's what we're trying to say here.
Absolutely. So stick around for the after party because that's when Paloma's going to show up and she's going to bring her clippers in and she's going to cut me up. So like that is, I'm really looking forward to that because it's been a while.
Absolutely. And you know, anybody who's here this week who might have not been here last week, there is now an after party after the show. So you stick around. It looks a little bit and feels a little bit like this. Where you get up close and personal with Swede, and he even brings people on screen, and it's just a crazy time. So make sure you stick around today and see what's happening, especially since there's a haircut happening, and we all have to see that.
Yeah, that the idea, y'all, is so we definitely have a message with the Get Busy Living project that we want to send to y'all. It's not just about me having fun and D-Rex and I having fun on this podcast. This podcast is purposeful, okay? It's a way to generate revenues, okay? The revenues are going to the party that I promised you, okay? And if I expect you guys to help me generate revenues, then I am going to help. Okay, so that's where the nonprofit comes in, and that's where all of these things tie together. And as this time goes on, you'll start to figure all of these things out, you know, about how these things working and why we're doing all the things that we're doing. So please get at us in the comments so that we can get back at you. The idea is to chat with you in the chat box. Like when I'm chatting it up with you on camera, D-Rex is in the chat box. And when D-Rex is with you on camera, I'm in the chat box. And we want to be able to send you guys a link. Like if we're having a good conversation and you guys want to be on a part of the show, we can send you a link where you can just click that link on your phone as long as you got a smartphone. Anybody with a dumb phone, sorry, I can't help you. But as long as you got a smartphone, then you can jump in and we can bring you on screen just like we're going to bring on some folks today. So please get at us in the chat box. Like, hey, so D-Rex, do you know who Nana Tara is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hi, Tara.
Hey, what's up, girl?
We're happy to see you here. You know what I want to... Oh, go ahead. Go ahead before I talk.
I was just going to say, shout out to Danielle Renee. Hey, so she's DRH and you're D-Rex. So I got two DRs in my life that are like doctors to me.
Well, hey, I wanted to bring up your personal project that has already begun.
Yes.
What?
As a matter of fact, it's going well. Luckily, it's not a drastic change for me, although I was tempted today. Man, I'm tempted. Now that I know that I'm trying not to do something, you don't try to tell me not to do something. I can't even tell me not to do something.
I was going to say, but it was you that told you not to do something.
See, I don't even listen to myself. But like I was so tempted to go get some chicken today because I knew that it was there and ready. So like so the challenge that D-Rex is talking about is that 30 days raw vegan. I'm a couple days in. I'm gonna end it right before Thanksgiving so I can get my grub on with my family in Florida. Yes, I'm coming to Florida and D-Rex is coming with me.
Oh, so are you going to tell us a little bit about how it's going?
Sure. So the idea is to track my progress, right? So I needed to get blood work done, and what I did yesterday was I went and got these dual X-ray absorptiometry scans. And what those are is that basically they have these two different X-rays that come at you at different angles, and they can tell what your bone mass and what your body composition is. So like when you get on a scale, like it tells you what your weight is, and you have to know what your height is, and you have to know what your gender is and what your age is, so you can decide if your weight is good for your height and gender and all that stuff. Well, what a body composition does, it gives you more than just your weight. It tells you how that weight is broken up. So I know what my percentage of my body is bone now. I know what percentage of my body is like serious fat mass that's not good. I know what's healthy fat mass. I know what's lean mass. So it gives me a better idea of what my molecular makeup is on my body. So now I'm going to change my my diet. Basically, all I'm going to do that's different is I'm going to stop eating animal-based foods. I'm only going to eat foods that are raw, like you can pick them out of nature. And like, there are some exceptions, of course, but the idea is that cutting out the animal proteins is going to help me understand the progress that I make. So then in 1 month from now, after I get back to Florida, you guys see DexaFit here. I'm going to go back to DexaFit, my man David, and they're going to give another scan, and I'll be able to tell whether or not I made any progress. Because otherwise, you just like eat and like exercise, and all you really know to track your progress is how much you weigh. And like we all try to decide whether or not we are doing better because we look different and we weigh a different weight. So I'm going to know not only how much I weigh, but how much all of the things that are weighing me down, what they are. And so that's and after 30 days, I should be able to have some good progress there. So that's the vegan challenge, 30 days, blood work before and after, DEXA scan before and after, and just look and see how I feel differently. And I'll be keeping in touch with you guys on how that goes.
So what did they tell you?
So they told me that I have a lot. Well, here's something that's very misleading. I have very strong bones, they said, because my bone number was higher for my height and weight, right? Well, when I told them that I have heterotopic ossification in my hips, which is why my hips don't bend, which is why I'm almost always in a lying down position. I know you can't tell that from this angle, but if you see me in person, like from my knees to like just below my rib cage is like horizontal. And I'm just like barely bent forward because of my hips not bending. So when he took the scan, I've got all this extra bone in there. And because there's that number of bone, the machine isn't intelligent enough to know, oh, he's got HO. So it just to the machine, it appears as though I have very strong bones, which is actually not the case. I have very weak bones because I never support them with any kind of real weight. So I learned this bone number that I expect to not change much. I also learned my lean body mass number, which I'm actually, from what they're telling me, the little bit of muscles I do have are actually pretty strong, because.
Oh, good for you.
But the number that's the most disturbing is obviously my fat mass. And that's because I've gone through a bout of depression where I was doing all kinds of pleasure eating, making a lot of bad decisions along the way. And so up until basically when you and I, first started working together back in the summer, I remember when we started talking, I was like, I haven't been eating very well. And you were like, why? And like the tone of your voice was like pierced my brain. It was like, yeah, why?
I was so sad and horrified at the same time. I was like, no, we gotta walk again. What are we doing?
Yes.
And from that point on, we were like on the phone all the time.
Yes.
Because this needs to happen, right? And I'm so happy that, you're on a good path and we're going to see what happens in 1 month. And I'm sure that after that month, after seeing what happens, it's going to be kind of addictive.
Exactly. So I want to give a shout out to my boy Steve, who has been here just about every week. Steve, thank you for coming and being a loyal fan of the Get Busy Living Project. I also want to give a shout out to my boy Justin Bailey, for those of you know him more affectionately as Boogie. So my boy Boogie, I can't wait for Boogie to be a guest on the show. And Boog, stick around for the after party, bro. I'll bring you on and then we'll get you on screen. So speaking of the after party, okay, that's going to be after we do a little bit of ghost storytelling. So, speaking of when we first connected back in the summer, there was a ghost story that we shared that kind of was your way of getting into my head about believing in myself. Do you remember all that?
Yeah. But I'm super excited for you to tell your own personal ghost story later. But this is something that we need to talk about in just a little bit.
I want to save it for later.
Move forward because we gotta tease that because it's so crazy. Okay.
Absolutely.
Swede's got a crazy real life ghost story for you, and it's not going to happen right now. You're going to have to just hang on. Because first of all, you started talking about ghost stories and you didn't even know that we had this.
I love it. That face.
You didn't even know that was a thing.
No, hey, shout out my boy
So
Busy Burns. Did you see that, Busy? That was your face and mine in that little like that that was creepy. Money. That's money.
well, okay. So, you know what? I mean, the whole point of us talking about stories today goes way back, is old as time. The whole storytelling angle, humans connecting with humans, which is really what we've been trying to do here with Get Busy Livin'. It's like we're trying to connect with other humans. We're trying to help other humans. We're trying to get these other humans their stem cell transplants. We're trying to get these 10 people helped with the nonprofit that Swede formed. So I thought that storytelling was a natural thing for us to do today. So I wanted to talk about actually what kind of stories I'm interested in, because it's totally weird. And I don't know if everybody else had the same thing growing up at the same time as I did. But, you know, there was no internet then. And I was always super excited to go to the library and get books out on anything mysterious. Loch Ness Monster, tons of ghost stories. I really liked stories of spontaneous human combustion. And I don't know if anybody knows what that is,
What?
but
Spontaneous human combustion? I'm imagining like people exploding. What is that all about?
that's kind of what it was. You can get all these books about people in Victorian times where they were found in their chairs, completely burnt from like the legs up, and nothing else in the room was touched.
No, that's not. No, that's never happened.
You know,
What the hell?
What do you mean that's never happened? There was a lot of books that I read about it, and I think that this is a good time for this. I read the books, but it doesn't mean that it's true necessarily. In fact, when I told my friend this last weekend about spontaneous human combustion and how fascinating I found this, he said, "Oh, there must be something found out about it now, because nobody spontaneously human combusts
Yeah,
anymore."
that doesn't happen.
So he Googled it, and it turned out that somebody in Ireland spontaneously combusted as late as 2010.
Damn, that, you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of there's a person in my life that if looks could kill, you would spontaneously combust on the spot for sure. Because I mean, this girl had these eyes that would just like pierce through you and make you feel like the hair was getting blown out of the back of your head. She had looks that could kill. So if it could happen, man, I know somebody that can make it happen.
Well, it turns out that a lot of those stories were debunked because people used candles for lights back then, and sometimes they'd end up drunk in their chair and they'd catch on fire.
Exactly.
So I'm sorry that that's not as interesting when I say that, but it has to be said.
Shout out to Busy. Shout out to Busy Burns. Shout out to Boogie. Shout out to DRH. Hey, y'all, stick around for the after party. I'm going to be getting my hair cut, and then I'm going to shoot you guys some text and bring you guys on camera with me so we can shoot it up while my barber's chopping me up.
So yeah, definitely. What this is this about the spontaneous human combustion here? Yeah, it is. Look, the picture of only the person's feet and ankles scarred me for life. Yeah, absolutely. God. Absolutely. Sorry, I just actually got dust in my eye, guys. I'm not crying over spontaneous human combustion. Although, you know, one might cry over it if it happened to them. But yeah, it turned out that something happened in Ireland in 2010 where they found this guy burnt above the knees in his chair. Nothing else in the apartment touched, or it was like something else on the table was burnt, and that was it. And they couldn't find any other way to explain it. So they marked it down as spontaneous human combustion.
You know, it's like Gene and Bill are on the crime scene, and they're like, "Well, I don't know about this one, Gene. I think we're just going to mark this one up to spontaneous."
Yeah, like we want to go to dinner. We want to close this out.
My boy Boogie, good question, Boog. So Boog was like, "Yo, why are you not cutting your hair right now?"
Oh, yeah.
So the answer to that is that my girl La Paloma, so her name is Paloma. She's very dear to my heart. She was going to be the one cut my hair, and we wanted it to be during a live show, but that girl got stuff she's doing too and wasn't able to get here during this hour. So that's all right though, because we're having an after party every week. All right. So we're going to do this, our little message, whatever the weekly messages. And then once the after party is over, and that's when you guys are going to come on, stay on camera with me. So we're going to get to the after party and she'll be here for that. So stick around for it. But good question, Boog. And by the way, DG, state your case, state your name, and D-Rex, don't you got somebody that you said was you were talking about, the storyteller?
Yeah. And I would actually like to introduce him right now. This is somebody I went to high school with for a little while. And I think he's still getting set up, so I'm going to give him a second here. But he actually has won a storytelling contest, and this whole thing's about stories. So let me add Jason Sable to the stream. Hey, let me unmute you really quick. Look, he's muted. He's muted. You got to find out how to unmute yourself.
I got you.
There you go. Hey, there you are.
3 years of COVID, and we're still fucking muting each other.
I know, right?
Yeah. Hey, look at that background. You're the most Halloween decorated of all of us.
Oh, you gotta be prepared. You gotta be prepared.
That is so cool.
I like it.
Hey, Jason, now you might want to straighten out the story for us. You wouldn't describe yourself as a professional storyteller, but to us, you are that because you actually enter storytelling contests in York, Pennsylvania.
That's true. That's true. York and Lancaster and the Susquehanna Folk Festival, and
that is so cool.
It's a fun thing to do. I mean, you get to write and you get to tell stories and you get to have fun and you get to connect with people, and that's really what storytelling is all about.
I'm impressed, dude. Look at you. You're already telling stories about telling stories.
Absolutely. And then there was also something about a liar's contest. What is this?
Ooh, yeah, so the Susquehanna Folk Festival had a liar's contest, which, as you can guess, is about telling tall tales. So you had to tell a tall tale that you made up yourself, and it could be about anything. And since it's a tall tales story, I have no problem telling you that I came in first in that competition.
Of course not.
I might have actually come in second, but we're gonna say I went with first because I mean it's a liar's competition,
you're now
right?
Professional liar. Well, actually, this story that you won that contest with is not a lying story. It's a real story, right? Like your house was legit haunted when you grew up.
I legit grew up in a haunted house.
What?
It's true.
Wow.
It's true.
That's where the stories come from.
And people always ask, like, oh, I think people always assume that, like, if you grow up in a haunted house, like, it's going to be like Amityville Horror, but it's actually not really like that. Like, it's actually it's actually like a lot more like the beginning of a horror movie, like before everything goes bad. Like, it's just like a whole bunch of creepy shit all the time. Like, you'll be home by yourself, and like, there's no one else there, and you'll have like a basketball bouncing in the basement.
Oh,
and like,
no.
And like, not only do you know no one's in the basement, you also know that like there's no basketballs in the basement.
Oh.
And then like, if you're like electronics are always like turning on and off by themselves, like all the time, like the TV will turn on, the stereo will turn on. Another one, a big one, is windows, which is funny because in the summertime, if you're not home and like a summer thunderstorm rolls through and you left your windows up, like you'll come home and all the windows will be closed.
What?
Which is
the ghosts don't like the rain?
It's helpful, but also creepy as shit. And then like another thing is like doors will open and shut by themselves, and like sometimes like if you're doing something they don't like you'll just hear doors slamming upstairs and you don't know like why. Like, it'll be the dead of winter, there's no windows open, there's nothing that can be happening, and you're just hearing doors like bang 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 bang.
I know exactly what you mean, because I've been in circumstances in my house too. Not that it was ever haunted, but there was girls saying that somebody was doing something they didn't like, and I'm like, oh, don't worry about that. That's just a ghost. That's just a ghost.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, way to talk that one down, Swede. But yeah, so the funny thing is, I mean, that's like the general stuff, but like the really good stuff about my house is about this guy who had gold buttons in like a navy blue suit, and kind of like
see this.
And like, yes, and his relationship with the house. So my parents bought this house in the 1970s, and they bought it from what I'll call an eccentric couple that had completely sealed off the upstairs. So my parents bought this house that had 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and these folks essentially sealed the upstairs, never went up there, and turned their 4-bedroom house into a first floor apartment that they turned their dining room into the bedroom, and like they had a half bath on the first floor, and they showered in the basement. because like they just weren't going upstairs. Now my parents were like, "Oh well, this seems like a great deal. No wonder it's so cheap. We're gonna get into this. Fucking ground
Way to
floor."
get a discount.
So they buy this house, right? And not so long after they buy the house, my mom starts seeing this guy standing outside the house between the garage and the house on this little walkway, and he's got a navy blue suit and gold buttons. And she sees him, and then she'd call my dad, and then he'd be gone. And after some time,
that's your mom's mailman story, dude.
Maybe. Oddly enough, I was born shortly after that. And
hey, that's what the Get Bizzy Livin podcast is all about, buddy. We'll expose your parents.
And so after I was born, the thing was weird is that I also saw this guy, right? And one day, my mom, I think, felt bad for this guy standing outside in the rain all the time. And she opens the door and she yells out the door and she says, "Hey, if you want to come in here, you're allowed to come in. You don't have to stand outside." Which, from every horror movie anyone's ever seen, the best thing you can do is invite a spirit in the house.
Yeah.
That's always the first great step. But it worked out for us because obviously it was closing windows when it rained. But so being the second child, my parents loved me so much they put me in the back bedroom. So this back bedroom in my parents' house is kind of like the epicenter of where all the weird shit would happen. And so, for instance, there was a mobile in my room, a Pegasus mobile. The mythological horse.
That's kind of weird in itself.
Well, my parents were real into Greek mythology. They were going to name me Achilles, but
that's kind of cool.
They thought better of it and named me Jason from Jason and the Argonauts.
That explains it.
Achilles or Jason?
I know.
One or the other, But I guess we're gonna go with Jason. With like every other parents in the 70s, because I guess there was some soap opera dude in the 70s named Jason and whatever. So there's a bunch of Jasons in my age group. Fine.
Yes. Sounds like
it's fine. Drama. It's fine. I'm not jealous at all. I wouldn't have any problem with Achilles. It's fine. But so this mobile, you would pull the string and the wings would flap. Except in my bedroom, it was like automatic. Like it would go by itself. Like the wings would just flap. And then when I would go to sleep, there was like a light show every night. And now this was before Discovery Channel. This was before Ghost Hunters, all this other shit that like we've since learned about or allegedly learned about orbs. And so like they're like green and yellow and blue and red orbs just whipping all around my room like every night when I'm going to bed. And like it didn't even seem weird to me because it was just like I was a little kid. Like I was like 7, 8, 9. It was just like this is just how things are. Like the world. This is
nighttime.
This is the world as it exists.
Yeah, yes.
Oh gosh.
And I would see the guy in the navy blue suit with the gold buttons, and he would walk down the basement stairs that were in my room. And I would hear him walking down the stairs, and then he'd just cruise through my room, like into the next room. And then as time went on, I think it's easy to kind of pin that up to like a kid's imagination.
Oh, I'm getting hair in my arms standing up because I know I would have thought that my entire life until I had my spook story. I would have been like, whatever, dude, you're a kid. But I'm listening to you and I'm remembering how I felt when I knew that something was there.
Right. So then even as I got older, like when I'm a teenager, like I'd have like friends staying over and like then they would start to see the dude with the yellow buttons and the navy blue suit. And like one time, like we had people, like I had friends staying over and like one of them was sleeping on the floor and like I was sleeping in my bed. My other friend was sleeping in the guest bed. And like we see our buddy who's on the floor sit up and walk to the bathroom. And he's in there for like 10, 15 minutes. So of course, like we start breaking his balls a little bit. Like, oh, what are you doing in there, man? Taking a shit? Like, you having some problems? And then from the floor where he was always been, he's just like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And we were like, what? Are you kidding me? Like we both saw you get up. Like this is impossible. So like my mom and I, like when I was little, like never, we both kind of like acknowledged that like we knew something was going on, but like we never like explicitly said it. until one night when I was in middle school. I was staying at a friend's house, and my mom went to go sleep in my bedroom because my dad was snoring real loud. And my mom wakes up in the middle of the night, and she wakes up in the middle of the night, and there's a woman in the room, and she's got a white dress on, long blonde hair, blue eyes. She's beautiful, and she's floating directly above the bed. Just like floating, like not like aggressive in any way, but just kind of like observing. And my mom obviously was like, what the fuck is going, like she couldn't scream, couldn't do anything. Finally, like she gets enough nerve, runs over to her bedroom, grabs my dad, they run back, of course she's gone. And she tells me about this. And obviously we're both kind of alarmed. So the funny thing is, in a bit of serendipity, like my mom was a school teacher, and towards the end of her career, another teacher had transferred into her building, and it ends up that the new teacher that had transferred into her building had knew our house because her great grandfather had built it. And she had been there as a child because her grandmother lived there after her great grandfather died. And my mom ended up making friends with this woman, and she came over for lunch one day, and it's me, my mom, and this woman. And she starts talking to us about her great grandfather. And it comes out that he was a very proud firefighter. And his favorite thing to wear was his dress blue firefighter uniform, which is navy blue with gold buttons. And he was buried in that.
Oh.
And so now at this point, my mom and I are like kicking each other under the table, like, holy shit. And then like, so we finished lunch, and like we didn't say anything because we didn't want to seem like we were weirdos. and so we go to like give her like a little tour of the house of like, you know, how do things look now and blah blah blah, different from where we're there. We get upstairs, and we're in the upstairs hallway, and we go to walk into the first bedroom, and this other teacher says, "Oh no, I don't need to go in there." And we were like, "Why not?" And she said, "Well, that back bedroom, that's the sick bedroom, and that's where anytime people would get sick, that's where they went and were like quarantined until they died, so no one else in the family got sick."
Oh no! Oh my god, my stomach just stunk.
And so my mom and I are like now turning white, and she goes, "Actually, there's a really sad story about that." And my mom and I now are just standing there in the hallway, frozen. And she says, "My grandmother's sister died in that back bedroom. She died in the influenza outbreak in 1918, and she died a week before her wedding day, and she was buried in her wedding dress.
Oh,
and
wow.
she had
crazy.
long blonde hair and beautiful blue eyes. And
now my arm hair is standing up.
Oh god, I know, I'm getting the creepers, man. The heebie-jeebies.
So that was it. So here's the bonus. Here's the bonus. And D-Rex, I don't know if you remember this.
Uh-oh.
But one time many years ago, when I knew D-Rex in another life, she came over to my house, and she was with we were with a bunch of friends, and I was having a party, and she walked in.
You'll go to his parties.
Yes.
I think I was just tagging along with my boyfriend.
I think that's exactly what was happening. She was tagging along with her boyfriend, and she went up and she walked in, and she was like, "This." I remember clearly. She was just like, "This place feels weird," and I was like, and I was trying to play it cool because I knew what the hell she was talking about already, but I was just like, "Nah, everything's fine. It's like cool. Like everybody's having a good time." And then like she was like, "What's upstairs?" And I was like, "I mean, it's just a house." And so D-Rex goes upstairs with me and her boyfriend and her boyfriend's little brother, and who's my best friend. And we walk upstairs. We get to the hallway.
J. Brown said, "Party pooper."
We get to the same hallway, right? And I've never seen anyone, maybe ever, go from like completely fun and jovial to like white as a ghost. And D was just like, I have to go. And literally ran down the stairs and out the front door.
I do
Ran
that
down
to
the
people.
stairs and out the front door. And then she was just like, I don't know what's in that back room, but there's a whole bunch of energy and I'm not dealing with it. And that was the end of the story. Like, she was just
Really?
like, I'm not going back in the house. Not going to do it.
I have done that to multiple people where I'm in their house and all of a sudden I'm like, I gotta go. Get out of here.
Yeah.
That's-
So
Yeah, so he outed me as a sort of medium, but I don't do that for money, anybody. So no, I'm not going to talk to your aunt or your dad or anymore.
That is hit me right in the heart, man. I can't believe that. So it's funny that you mentioned this intuition because, you know, when we were talking about what this project was back in the summer, and I was telling you that you whether you knew it or not, you had an idea, or it was your idea that kicked into me, and I'd been working on it for 2 years ever since you told me about the live streaming idea, and then you started telling me you were like, it doesn't surprise me that you're doing this. You pretty much do what you want, and I wish that you would just like ask. Because they're ready to help you. Like, they've been helping you all this time and you just don't even ask for help. And like, you don't even realize it. And I'm like, what?
And you know what? I think that when we say ghosts, it sounds scary. And then if you say like spirits or the universe, then it's something else. And then people are like, oh, hippies. And, like, we don't know what we don't know. And that's what I love about ghost stories. It's like, what the heck is that? Hey, there's lots of movement going on. And sometimes I wonder, like people believe in angels, and then some people believe in ghosts. Like, what's the difference? What's the difference between that and spirits? And then some people don't believe that at all. But
yeah, D,
sometimes, what?
D, I love that because I think that's a great point because my personal beliefs are, I grew up as an atheist. I consider myself an atheist, but yet I've seen ghosts. So I from my own perspective, I know they exist. And I don't know what the hell they are, but like, I know they're there.
You know what I'm trying to figure out about ghosts? Like, are they just confused or are they jerks? Like, they don't leave. Like,
my thing is like, my thing is, and I don't know, obviously it's not scientific or anything else, but like, it just seems to me like it's some sort of energy that has been left behind. And I don't know what that energy is or why it's been left behind or whatever. But it's interesting, I guess, probably as an atheist to be like, oh yeah, I believe in ghosts, but like, I've seen them. So like, how am I going to argue against it?
Bro, speaking to Jay Brown, who's in the chat box with us, Jay Brown, stick around for the after party, bro. But Jay Brown and I, we spent a lot of hours walking and talking, man. And my boy Jay Brown could kick some serious knowledge to you. And we've talked about this kind of stuff about, what we believe in and what's all the higher power stuff. But I honestly did not. I've been an atheist my whole life. At least when I learned what that word was, I was like, yeah, I believe that actually, And it seems logical, right? And there's a lot of reasons to believe all kinds of different things. But I was pretty cold, stubborn at 21 years old, being an atheist. And like, there's no ghosts, there's no praying. It's, life happens and just deal with it, And I came home from work. At the time I was working as an electrician and I was living with my friend who his parents had a small house out back of their house. It didn't even have a refrigerator. We had an oven and we had 2 bedrooms and we had a little tiny living room and a really small bathroom. And I come home from work and my boy would get up to go to work before me. And a lot of times when I come home, he'd either be at his girlfriend's house or he'd already be asleep because we were both working like 12, 14-hour days, man. We were both hustling back at that time. And I was like, and I remember coming home and he wasn't up. So I figured he was in his bedroom or he was at his girl's house. Didn't really pay attention. I probably chilled, listened to some Outkast and some Method Man, probably, did a little bit of socializing with myself and then called it a night. And in the middle of the night, out of nowhere, I get woke up and my alarm is flashing 12, right? And I had one of them alarms that if it flashes 12:01, it's been off for a minute. It'll keep counting. So I know that it had just gone off within the last minute. And and I was kind of like reset it, and the fact that I reset it kind of woke me up, because I had to roll over, and like I was a little bit awake and coherent, and I heard Dave, my roommate, walk out of his room and go into the kitchen, and I heard him like take it. So because we didn't have a refrigerator, we were very, very conscious of our drink population, like how much we had, and like we always have to. We would call it actually this for cell phones.
That's got to
like,
be hard living without a refrigerator.
Yeah, and so we would pick each other drinks up on the way home, because like we know we didn't, if you didn't have a drink, you didn't have a fridge, so it was inconvenient when we needed one. It was a 10-minute drive, so I knew that I had this drink, and he went out of his room and drank my fucking Gatorade, and I was like, Dave, the fuck, man, and he's like, ah, and he like, when somebody sets a drink down,
really enjoying it,
and he walks back in his room
in front of you.
Yeah, and I was like, fucking dick, whatever. So I just like set my alarm and back to sleep. And I don't know how long after that, whether it was a minute or 10 minutes or 2 hours, but next thing I know, boom, the alarm goes off. Or I get woke up out of nowhere and the alarm's flashing again. And I'm like, what the fuck is setting my alarm back and waking me up? But it was an old house and it was creaky, and it just had this vibe about it that I never really thought nothing of. It was just kind of this creaky old house, But so I was figuring like maybe the electricity would go off, and go back on. Maybe there was a storm down the road, because it's in Indiana where there's a lot of, major thunderstorms, and losing our power wasn't common, but I mean, it was a viable reason, So I just reset my shit again. And at that point I was trying to fall back asleep, and I heard, okay, so back in the day I had a 5-gallon paint bucket that had like a canvas tool holder around it that I held all my tools in. And so a lot of times I would carry my bucket of tools in and set it down in the kitchen, and I would go chill. And so it had, if you ever heard when you set down a paint bucket, like the plastic handle fall to the side and make a really distinct sound, the clink, clink, clink. It's a very distinct sound. Like nothing else sounds like the handle falling onto the side of the paint bucket. And so I'm laying there asleep and I hear that. And I was like, what the hell? Like it's been like hours. Like that handle would have fell almost immediately. And as I laid there, like trying to fall back asleep, and I was imagining, I was running through my brain that like I was imagining me setting the bucket down, and how cool it would be if the handle stood up for that long. And I was like, no, that shit don't happen. And then I realized, wait a minute, I didn't bring my bucket of tools in. And then I laid there thinking, I was like, whoa. I drank all my Gatorade. I know I drank all my Gatorade. And that's when my heart started to sink. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And then I got out of bed and I was like, Dave. And like we could hear each other farting at night. Like if he's home, he hears me. I'm like, Dave. He didn't say nothing. And I got up and I walked out and I turned the light on. No tool bucket, empty Gatorade bottle right where I left it, in the trash.
Dude,
I walk over to Dave. He's not there. I'm like, what the fuck? I turn the light on, off and on. I'm like, you're there. Be there. Turn it off. Be there. Oh, what the fuck? And it was like middle of the night, so I wasn't gonna run out of the house like I was on fire and shit, So I was like, whoever you are, man, I'm cool. I swear, I'm cool. And I was like, I just want to go back to sleep, man. Just let me go back to sleep. Why do you keep? I'm like, you got something to tell me? Like, why do you keep turning my alarm off? Are you trying to tell me something? Why do you keep on resetting my alarm? And I'm like, I'm fucking talking to myself. I'm like, you're tripping. I'm like, you didn't hear Dave's footsteps go across the floor. You're tripping. And then I'm like, I felt like Smokey in the chicken coop. I was like, the fuck is going on? So it's like, I remember like laying back down and like just like watching my clock like every minute tick by. And I was like, I normally would get up at 5. I was up at 4. I was like, fuck it, I don't need extra sleep. I think I'm hungry. Yeah, I'm hungry. I'm just gonna leave early and go get something on the way to work. And I bounced, bro. And I was spooked all day. And I came home from work that day. I didn't work late because I'm catching Dave before he goes to his girls, before he goes to sleep. And I came home and his car wasn't in the driveway. And I brought my tool bucket in this time because I didn't want to fuck with that thing happening again. And I immediately stormed in the downstairs of his parents' house. And I go in his house. And I'm like, Mom. I'm like, where's Dave? She's like, are you okay, honey? He's not home from work yet. I'm like, what time is he coming home? She's like, are you okay, Swede? You know what time he comes home? I saw Jay Brown. And I was like, no, yeah. Why is he not here yet? She's like, Swede, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not okay. And she's like, did you see Dad? I was like, what? What do you mean did I see Dad? Who's Dad? Dad who? I didn't see nobody. What are you talking about? And she's like, calm down, calm down. She's like, you know, the first time I saw him, I think, or I was like probably maybe 12, you know, and you know, he passed away when I was a little girl. And I just remember being upstairs in the bathroom, just got done showering after school, and I was just going to come downstairs and have dinner, and then we would, you know, go to, you know, lay down for the night. And when I was up there brushing my hair, you know, my dad was like, hey babe, dinner's ready. And I was like, okay, Daddy, thank you. And then I just kept on brushing my hair. And then I came downstairs, and my mom, and I was like, Mom, and I'm ready to eat. And the food wasn't even done. And she's like, I thought maybe I must have been mistaken. I went back upstairs, started brushing my hair again. Sure enough, honey, dinner's ready. Come on down. And, okay, Daddy. And then she's like, then I was like, Daddy.
Nope.
You know, and
nope.
I'm sitting there listening to her tell that story to me, and my butthole is puckering up so tight. I'm like shaking in my shoes. I'm like, what is he here? What was he here? I'm telling you, mind you, before that moment, I would have been like, ghosts are not, no. No. But it was so significant. It was so real. And so I invited some of my Indiana folk to come to the show tonight because I wanted them to tell their stories. Because after that happened, Dave came home and I was like, why didn't you tell me your house was haunted? like, dude, did you see that? And I'm like, what? And so I called up Heidi, and I called up Rob, and I called up Corey, and I was like, you guys, because Dave's like, yeah, man, they'll tell you. All of his friends have known about it. Like, apparently, it's like, yeah, it's just a matter of fact. Like, we play football in the yard, and Dave's house is haunted.
You know, I got to ask you guys both. The houses that you lived in that had a ghost, were they Victorian houses?
My parents' house was, I think, built in like 1890 or so. It wasn't a Victorian house. It was just like a regular ass house.
Okay, but that is Victorian times, actually.
I mean, it was old, but it was just like a regular ass house.
So Jay Brown said, I don't have a haunted story, but I used to be scared to death when Unsolved Mysteries came on.
Me too.
Scared as in burning every turning every light on the house and having an exit strategy.
I don't know if anyone remembers the story about the haunted bed. The haunted bed on Unsolved Mysteries scared me to death. Still to this day scares me to death just thinking about it.
You know, my sister and I weren't close when we lived in the same house, but we were always like right there because the house wasn't that big. And my mom was always gone at like church or work or something, but we would watch Unsolved Mysteries, and she would lay on the couch and I would lay on top of her with my head on top of her head like this. And we'd be watching that thing all scared to death. But the reason I asked you about the Victorian houses is because it just seems like, why are ghosts always Victorian themed? You know, I just find that so strange. Like, why do we think of ghosts as like always from the Victorian times? I'm sure that if there were ghosts then, there are ghosts that are being made now. And if they were, as you say, if they become the ghosts that wear the clothes they were buried in, then are we really going to have like some ghost girl walking around that says like Fridays on her t-shirt? You know, like, is that what our modern ghosts are going to be like?
Yeah, there's some joke that I don't remember perfectly that English people tell about how like Americans think that like 200 years is old.
Oh yeah,
something else. But like it's funny because like we have all these we imagine that we have like all these ghosts, and you know, obviously we haven't been a hugely populated continent for a long time. Right. But like if and obviously I've seen ghosts and I believe ghosts are real, but like I can't even imagine what it's like in Europe. I mean, people have been living in Paris and London for like literally thousands of years.
Thousands of
like
years.
How many dead people, how many people have died in each one of those houses?
Think
Like,
about all the battlegrounds, you know. I remember.
Yeah.
So you guys know that I'm on a streak, or I was on a streak. I'm back on another streak. But at one point in my life, I went 54 months in a row on at least one epic adventure every single month. And the last one I went on was me and my girl Micah went to Vietnam, and we did a bike. We rode a scooter from South Vietnam to North Vietnam, and we kept on going through all these, you know, old war zones that were Vietnam. You know, they like you could tell that it was a demilitarized zone, or that it was where what shit went down. And I can't, because it was cold and the bike was fast. I can't say that I had any kind of like really paranormal experiences, but I'm telling you, I felt and thought differently going through that area, thinking about all the people that had died in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone's ever been to Gettysburg, that place feels crazy.
Yeah. I'm only about, I think I live about a half hour from Gettysburg, and it's anytime I go by it or stop by, it's creepy. I mean, obviously, like I think anytime you have like that massive amount of loss of life in a tragic circumstance in such a short period of time. I mean, Gettysburg, you're talking about like 3 or 4 days where, you know, tens of thousands of people died.
Yeah.
In the same space.
There's got to be something, man. I mean,
it's just so much.
There's definitely something to it. But Jason, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, no. Honestly.
I was just going to say that, you know, and there's got to be obviously there's some truth behind it. There's some truth behind so many people believing in the prophets that have existed, regardless of what religion you believe in. They probably were some wise motherfuckers back in the day that just were more tuned in, you know. And like, what's up with Halloween? You know, why is Halloween got all these spookinesses to it? I don't really know the story behind Halloween, but I know this. After I told Dave's friends back then and my friends that I had found out about it, they came over and they all told stories. And I remember one of the stories, Heidi was like, so when you walk into our place, like really tiny narrow hallway where the kitchenette was, and then you come into the living area, and off on each side of you to the right and left was the bedrooms, and in the middle was the living area and had a little tiny wall there, and right across from that wall was the door to the bathroom. So essentially you could be sitting with your back door, with your back facing the entryway, the bathroom door on your left, and the sitting area like kind of in front of you to the left. And I remember we were sitting there talking, and she was like, yeah, I remember one time I was sitting here and I felt somebody walk past me behind me, you know, into the bathroom, and everybody was talking in front of me, so I just paid attention to what was going on in front of me, and then I feel like I started to have to pee, you know, and I kept on waiting for the person that was in the bathroom to come out, you know, so that I could pee. And I felt them go in there, so I know that there was somebody in there. And she's like, and then eventually I was like, you know, and then I started to pay attention to the people that were in the house, and like all the people that were with us were there in front of me. And she's like, so then she apparently, and I wish she'd have come on and tell this, but she said she got up and like went to open the bathroom door. Somebody had gone in the bathroom and locked it and was using it, but there was nobody in there. Like they had to figure out a way to get the bathroom door open. That's how they all knew that it was real, because the group was like, oh shit, the bathroom door's locked. And how did it get locked? You had to lock it from the inside. And I was like, oh man, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make rent this month, Dave.
You know what? I really hope that ghosts are one mystery that never gets ruined. I really don't want this to be solved.
Right.
Like, I don't want people to find the answer, because I think people love mysteries and they need mysteries. You know, it keeps everybody like excited and interested. But I ruined a mystery for my friend once. He was really excited about worms. And this is a weird story. But he was like all of a sudden really excited. Like,
Gee, before you get started on that weird story, I'm gonna hop off so you guys can have some other friends on.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know what? Have a good night, Jason.
But I'm gonna watch. This was a lot of fun and good talk.
Okay.
Hey, Jason, thanks for coming on, bro. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Sweet, man. It was a good time. Good time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my friend got really excited about worms all of a sudden. He's like, oh my God, how do worms find each other in the earth? Imagine it's 3D. Like, you're trying to find your worm girlfriend and you can't find one. And oh my God. And I was like, it's 2022. It's probably an answer. Oh yeah, they emit pheromones and find each other. And he was like, oh. And I was like, oh, I just ruined his mystery, you know? And I feel like ghosts is one mystery that I just don't want ruined. I don't want it solved. you know?
Yeah. And yeah, I agree. And so Kelly, I'm gonna bring. We guys remember Kelly?
Hi, Kelly.
What's up, girl? Now, so I did see those pictures. You want to tell us about what that's all about?
What? Oh, wait, we
Oh,
can't hear
Kelly,
her.
we don't have a mic.
Got
Hold
him.
on. Sorry. There you go.
No, she has to unmute herself.
Oh, you have to unmute yourself, then.
Yes.
Can you hear
There
me
you
now?
go.
Yeah,
Yep.
much better.
Okay, so I don't know if you're able to share the pictures, but I can't explain it. So I don't know if you know, but I have narcolepsy, and sometimes with that comes paralysis.
Hmm.
I was experiencing paralysis. I was in Puerto Rico. I was visiting. This was before I actually moved there. And I was experiencing paralysis. And if anybody's ever experienced it, it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. You can't move. You can't get up. You're awake, but you can't move a single muscle in your body. You can't scream. You can't do anything. And I was experiencing that. And I felt like somebody was pressing on my chest because I was having a really hard time breathing. I don't know why you're laughing. This was terrifying. And I woke up after that, and I went downstairs and I looked down, and I had what appeared to be a footprint on my chest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I wasn't able to pull those photos up, but she just sent me some photos of her. It's obvious. It's
I want to see the photo. How can we see it?
Let me see if I can pull it out of my text
Oh,
messages.
okay. So this is. Oh my god.
So there's.
Oh yeah, you
That's
can see
crazy. So you can see like a tread or something, right?
Yeah, and
wow.
yeah, I don't know. It was
wild.
the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. Like I've experienced paralysis before, but nothing like that. So like it literally felt like somebody was standing on my chest. And then like a few minutes after waking up, I'd gone downstairs and I looked down and I saw it. And so I had to go like look in the mirror to make sure I was like actually seeing what I was seeing. And I was like, that looks like a damn footprint. And that's exactly what it felt like, laying in bed, not being able to move.
You know, that actually raises another question about what ghosts wear. They wear shoes. Like, what? Why do they need shoes? Anyhow, that is a crazy story, Kelly. And that is terrifying. But the only reason that we are even smiling or laughing is because obviously you're here to tell the story. So,
right. Yeah.
I got what's up?
Oh,
Darren.
Who's this? Who's here?
My boy Darren.
Darren's not ready.
All right, then. Me and Darren.
Oh, there he is. He's ready now.
What up, these nuts?
He went away.
I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be I'm on it later.
What are you doing?
Are we going to be able to hear him?
He's out.
Oh, he's out.
Sorry, I'm ordering drinks right now. Go Utah.
God. Oh my god.
Okay, he's back out.
So obviously I got some people coming to the after party, all right?
Yeah. Oh man, after party's gonna be fun. We all ready for that?
Well, Paloma just texted me. She said she'll be here in 10 minutes. And I think that was about 3 minutes ago. So we probably got 5 or 7 more minutes ish. And then once she gets here, she's obviously gonna have to set up and all that kind of stuff. So
right.
So that
well, I would like to remind everybody that the after party is happening. You might not know about the after party. It is going to be a fun time. Hang out after the show ends in a little bit because we're going to see Swede get his mop chopped. And I don't think I should show that again, but you know what?
I love it.
You know he's not gonna be as receptive as that dog is.
Are you gonna fight it? You can't fight it. You invited her.
No. Well, she's gonna try. She might try to chop certain parts that I will not be receptive to having chopped. Yes, I've got some hairs that are hanging on for dear life, and I feel like if they're hanging with me like that, I should hang with them too, man.
Oh, you're such a supportive person. Well, you know, I have even though we're running low on time, I think the one thing that I really wanted to ask you is, because I didn't ask you this ever, and I kind of like to know your answer. like, what do you think ghosts are? What do you think?
So my answer to that question now, compared to what it would have been when I was spooked like that
Mm-hmm.
live and in person, is going to be vastly different because of like we talked about in a couple of episodes ago. I've been doing a lot of personal development and reading about about like what is the most cutting edge thought that's happening on Earth these days. Like who are the smartest people and what are the smartest people talking about? And don't get me wrong, I can't get any books from those guys because I don't know how to read the smart people talk. But I've gotten some good books nonetheless. And probably the most influential book that I've read in my entire life to this point is this book that was given to me by boy Gary and G over in Australia. And he hit me up one time, back in the summer, and was like, "Man, you got to read this." And he just felt like it was something that I was in tune with, or would be in tune with. And so, this Joe Dispenza is able to, through decades of research and his own personal experiences, now he has got students all around the globe in pockets and universities that are studying brain waves and electromagnetic fields and how our thoughts determine what our genes do. Like if we just lay there and don't have any conscious thoughts, then our genes do what they're programmed to do, and they're always like in a reaction state. But he's talking about that before humans became so out of touch with nature and we were alone at night every single night with nothing but our thoughts and the stars and whatever our dreams led us to believe, that we were far more in tune with all of the energy flows of nature. And so when you start looking at that kind of stuff, man, and you start like the things that you were saying earlier about, you're saying you're not, outing yourself as, how did you refer to yourself?
A medium?
A medium, yeah. I believe that I think it's a language of humans that we as humans that are far out of touch with nature no longer speak. I feel like at a certain point in time, we started speaking with our hands and mouths instead of with our thoughts and our hearts. And so we no longer speak that language, but I think that there's an energy that lies in that language, just like radio waves are everywhere. So we know it's there. Like it's so many things that we know is there, but we just live in complete bliss over, And I just think that, ghosts are probably just some energy force that maybe used to be in a human, but now the human is no longer alive, but that energy force has somehow been able to, whether it's by choice, whether they can all do it and some of them choose not to, or whether they're stuck or whatever. I just believe that it's probably just still a collection of the energies that used to occupy a human body. I mean,
I really like your thought on that, about the language that we no longer speak, but it doesn't mean that we can't learn to speak it again, right?
Absolutely. And believe me, I have been trying.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of headed in that direction for the future. But I want to just wrap up the ghost stories part of this, and I want to use this because I want to see it again.
It is very eerie, isn't it?
Is it freaking you out?
It's very eerie.
Well, I just wanted to wrap up the ghost stories.
That was your cue. I said eerie. You're supposed to push the button.
I wasn't thinking that kind of eerie, but that was really clever. So, you're a clever boy.
Being that we are not on a time scale, time stretch, and I've got my friend Kelly here, and I've got the after party about to happen. I wanted to say that we can continue to talk. And D-Rex, I really think it's important that we talk about the future, the big picture.
Absolutely.
Now, you and I need to do that so that we can plot out our plan. But I love the idea of being in Erie on New Year's, and going and like doing a tour of one of those ships, so that when you hit this button, people know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, only the Erie people know what we're talking about right there. But yeah, the Brig Niagara, our true home. I don't know.
And with seriously, so I just want to say this on the record that this is what the Get Busy Living Project has so far lined up. Okay, month one we did what is more grand than the Grand Canyon. So I had JFT and Maria come up. They were my Getting Busy Livers, and they came with me and went on the first month. Okay, and then this month I got some Southern Belles, two of my all-time favorite females, and believe me, I put females right up there with males. So that means two of my all-time favorite people are coming out. They're flying in tonight. They're going to be here any minute. And we're going to be going to Hollywood for Halloween. So that's month 2 is going to be our second epic adventure. And then each month now in November for Thanksgiving, we're going to go to Florida. And then for Christmas, we're going to be in Pittsburgh for the Immaculate Reception celebration. And then New Year's in Erie. How's that sound?
That sounds awesome.
And then
It sounds like it might be a great day to be alive.
Hell yeah. So it's important that you guys are aware of that, because we want you to be there when we get there. And we want eventually. So we've got February is the Super Bowl party. March is my birthday. So surprise me. And then April's the 420 canoe trip. That's what I've got so far on my mind as far as loosely laid out. But then in May, I would love it if by the time May comes around, we've got a big enough audience that you guys are participating, sending us emails, telling us what you think, showing up the chat box, making your opinion heard. And then you can help us decide where we're going to go moving forward. You know what I mean? That's what I want to get as far as the audience involvement. That's how I want you guys to be able to participate.
It's going to be so fun to have everyone participate too. I can't wait to see all your faces in person and do this podcast from multiple locations. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. We're getting some merchandise ready so you guys can be all swagged out on these trips. And there's just so much that I don't even know where to start. Should we just catch people up really quick on where they can go to sign up for these things, especially about donating for the book and what that entails?
I think that's important. Look, guys, this isn't going to work unless we are all acknowledging that we're in this together. So it's the revenue generating is because I owe you guys a party. And with my abilities, I figured that this would be the most tangible way for me able to give you the money that you spent on me to save my life and give you your money's worth by throwing you the huge party that I promised you. But if I'm going to do that, if I'm going to afford that, it's going to be because this podcast is generating revenue. If it's podcasting generating revenue, that's because you want to help. And that means that I'm going to help, and we're trying to help 10 other people. If I want to be helped, I have to first be willing to help. And so the 10 other people is 1/3 of the pie. The Get Busy Livin or the huge party is another third of the pie. And then getting you guys on the vacations with us is the third of the pie. So how's that going to work? The goal is this: the revenues that are generated from this podcast, the revenues that are generated from the sponsorships, the revenues that are generated from the book, the revenues that are generated from the merchandise are going into the pot. And 1/3 of that pot, we're going to spend on getting you guys on the vacations with us. So what we want to be able to do is starting when the season 1 kicks off in January, we want to start being transparent with you about how much we have and how much we're able to bring. You know, if we generate a ton of dough, then that means a ton more of you guys that are coming on vacations with us. I mean, that's my best idea about how to give back and still keep you guys involved and still help others and help myself and just be generous the way that I've had generosity shown to me. That's my best idea.
I'm not sure if people know that we are trying to also raise revenues so that we can help 10 people get stem cell transplants. People in Swede's position that need the stem cells to regrow parts that don't regrow without stem cells. And it's going to be partly funded by you going to thehswa.org, and it's right there on the bottom of the screen, and possibly reserving a copy of Swede's book. And do you want to put that up on the screen?
Yeah, so
here, go ahead.
The Life and Air of Swedism's book is it's a project that was devised by people that were running the Help Swede Walk Again before I started taking part in it, when I was still heavily sedated and highly in recovery. But what it is, it's a collection of I guess you could call it poetry or prior posts that I've done throughout the years that I've apparently gained myself a loyal fanhood. And so by going to the hswa.org or getbusylivin.com and clicking on the reserve your copy, $25 or more gets you a copy of the book delivered. And we're doing pre-reservations now because we don't have, we're trying to accomplish this here. So with $25 per copy at 2,000 pre-reserved copies, that will get us enough to afford printing the books and shipping them directly to you. That will also give us enough to afford putting somebody through some stem cell therapies, and also give us enough to afford getting you or one of the 2,000 people, we're going to pull a name out of the hat. And then that person plus one is going to get an adventurous Alaska trip paid for in Alaska with the Whoop Scooty Well. So what that is, 6 nights, 7 days in Alaska with Scott doing whatever it is that your little heart desires. And guess who is in the house? My girl Paloma. What's up, girl? Come on over here and have a seat.
So you want to get on this adventurous Alaska trip.
Well, come make that face on camera. She has an amazing face to make. You can't hear what's going on here, but hold on, let me just do this then. So come on, get on up over
Oh,
here.
I didn't
Yeah,
even
this is the
realize
camera
it
here.
was right here.
Hey, Paloma.
How's it going? So I was in a rush to get here, and I forgot the most important thing.
What'd you forget?
Oh no!
I should not have said she's gonna have her guard.
Oh.
I
Clipper
grabbed
forgetter.
everything and I got here and pulled up and said,
Oh, that's what that text was. Well, then, that's what that text was. And look, it's actually really important. Well, hey, that's okay. Life goes on. Maybe we'll just have you chew it
Okay.
off.
Well, here, let me just finish this up really quick. But I want you all to get over to VHSWA.org or even getbusylivin.com, and you can sign up and reserve a copy of this book and get your chance to go on the trip to Alaska, which looks amazing. So that's all I wanted to say. And Swede, do you have anything else you wanted to say? Look at this. Look at these pictures. You know you want to go on this trip. Go get the book.
That's it. I mean, I really want people to understand the big picture. And I don't know how much, I know I'm going to have to be repetitive until, I mean, commercials are repetitive, right? So there's nothing wrong with us trying to be consistent about our message, that the revenues that are generated by this production, this podcast, by your viewership is all going to come back in some way, whether it's not to you directly by getting you on a vacation with us, it's going to be helping somebody get some stem cells, or it's going to be helping the huge party, which you're all going to be invited to. So go to the hswa.org, get on the guest list, get yourself a copy of the book reserved, and let's start getting these revenues generated. So another thing I want to mention is how the YouTube algorithm works. Now I guess we're in a hunt for subscribers. So if you're watching this now, if you're watching this later, please hit that subscribe button, because that's the YouTube metric that we need to work on. So the goal is for us to get 1,000 is the first milestone that you have to reach before it starts monetizing. And I have no doubt in my mind that we'll get there. Whether or not we get there quickly, it all depends on how well we do with this job. So by all means, tune in, get at us at hello@getbusylivin.com if you have some criticism, or if you want to come on the vacations with us, if you want to be a guest on the show, just start communicating with us, because we're doing this all for you guys.
And please share with your friends and family, whoever you think could benefit from the Get Busy Livin' project.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. So I showed this because I really think that this would be helpful. So when I went to look at my Facebook memories and I went and saw that that this poem was up there, this poem was written 5 years ago today. And I had it here where it was going to be easy for me to pull up, but it's not easy right now. So it'll just take me a second. But the point is that actually.
So where were you 5 years ago today?
So 5 years ago, I was in Bali, and this was just another day in the life of Bali for me. And so, what's that?
I have another set of clippers.
Oh, she has another set of clippers.
Oh, good. Party saved.
So I was just going to take a minute to read this so that if you when you get a copy of the Life in Your Swedism book, this is really what you're getting. And so 5 years ago, October 27, 2017, it says this is when Facebook, you had to put what you were doing or that kind of thing. And I wasn't in the Fortress of Sweditude. I was actually in Bali. And the Fortress of Sweditude has traditionally been where my house has been in the US. And now there's a Fortress of Sweditude in Gilbert. But it just says, speaking of life, since you mentioned it, is yours turning out how you intentioned it? When I was a boy, I wanted to be Superman. Then I grew up and realized it's super just being a man. Just be a provider and a protector and respected in your community. Have a good heart and do your part, and you'll achieve impunity. Mistakes can be made as long as they're turned into lessons learned. Don't make the same one twice, and due respect will be earned. Some of us aspire for simpler things, and some men have a desire to give the world wings. Some just drink beer and some choose to steer clear. But we all have one thing in common. We're all lucky to be here, right now. We're all alive, and that's a gift. So in that way, all of our dreams about what we will be when we grow up are coming true. Does anyone get my drift? It's a great day to be alive. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning into the Get Busy Living podcast. We're going to jump into the after party. La Paloma went and got her clippers, and we're going to cut some hair. So thank you very much.
Amazing.
Stick around, and we'll be giving you back to on stage. Anybody wants to join us, We'll be chilling here getting our haircut. Just holler at me in the comments and we'll get you on and we'll cut it up in the after party.
Absolutely. Thanks everybody for being here.
But you gotta believe me, ain't nothing coming easy my way. No, I fucking work, but it's fucking work, but it's fucking work. You can see it when you see me, but you gotta believe me, ain't nothing coming easy my way. No.
So my
What's the
vision
time? Wait.
is blurry as
What?
shit right now
Uh-oh.
because this happens to me once or twice a day, depending on where my meds are. And I go through several periods a day where I can't see anything. So I'm like sitting here trying to.
I
just
got
can't
it.
be- what's
I
that?
got you. It's after party time. Yeah.
Damn, that's
After
fucking
party
crazy.
time.
Thank God.
Yeah, I feel
It's
pretty.
so bad.
I feel pretty lucky that that you had another set of clippers with you.
Yeah, that's good news. Who's here for the after party? Say so in the comments.
Can I get a hell yeah for the Get Busy Living Project?
Hell yeah.
And I want to give a shout out to High Country Adaptive Sports. So I got my man Truman and my girl Carly here.
I'm the summer program manager
I'm
for
the-
High Country Adaptive.
Sorry, I'm the winter program manager for High Country Adaptive.
So what can you do in the winter that you're not doing in the summer?
So we've got skiing, we've got all kinds of sit skis, stand-up skis, any kind of person with any kind of disability can get on snow. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, getting on snow. And so what did we just do over here, man? Talk to me about it.
Biking in the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
This is one of our sit-down electric e-bikes to go for a bike ride. My goal is to have every type of bike available in North America for people to come and try at our program. And then we want to help write letters of recommendation to get funding for these bikes, help you find those resources to get your own bike, find the grants, and then use our bikes to try each one out to find the bike that fits you best.
Hell yeah. Hey guys, thank you so much for what you've done for me today. I'm going to thank you from now on until death do us part. It was one of the greatest days of my life, if not the greatest day of the second least. Hell yeah. Well, to be honest, I did not expect that to happen. But that's because my vision isn't since this podcast has started, my vision has gone out here. Let me get this off here. So like I've had doctors look at my vision and try to get it fixed. And it's like they come over here and it's working perfectly. And so I'm like, it only happens a couple times a day, you know, but when it happens, it's like I really can't see pretty much anything. So we got a second camera here that we can also arrange. Let me get rid of this. So the cool thing about what's going on now with all of this podcast stuff is that like it's not like we're paying YouTube to broadcast on their channel, you know. So this is it's live for people to tune in and see, and luckily we have some viewers, but it's not like we're wasting money. So if you guys are out there, you know, oh, Deez, what up? I got my man Darren Deez. What's up, dog? Oh, it's Biz. What up, Biz?
What up? What up? What up?
Bizzy's in the house. What's up,
I didn't
brother?
know if I was connected or not.
Yeah.
What's up?
Bro, thanks for coming to the Get Busy Living Podcast after party. Did you tune in and watch me get my mop chopped?
Damn right.
Bill, say what up to Diana Eckstein. D Rex is in the house too. She's just in the background.
What's up, Miss
I was just
D-Rex?
hanging out back here packing up. Hello. My lighting's
What's
all
up?
funky now. We're going to
That's okay.
watch him get his mop chop. Nice to see you, Biz.
Absolutely, I wouldn't miss this.
Hey, Biz. Now I got to tell you, there's been few people in my life that have given me a run for my money and made me shut up because their stories are better than mine. But you're the man. You are the man. I can remember. I can distinctly remember, and that's probably why my story is so because I distinctly remember things. And it's probably they say that your memories are spawned by emotion. So those of us that are emotional people have distinct memories, right? And,
Absolutely.
I remember when you and Shane lived on 21st, right by 21st and Liberty, and we were kicking it on your porch one day, and Jay Brown was on his way over, and we were just be kicking at your crib that day, and so Pete, leave it as long as you can leave it.
I know.
So yeah, man, I remember sitting there and hey, I got mad love for Jay Brown, got mad love for you, got mad love for Shane, but there was going on that day, and I can't remember what the emotional issue was, but I remember being very emotionally charged, and then we sat on your front porch, and I think I was pissed at Jay Brown because he wasn't showing up, and you're pissed at Shane because she probably was showing up.
Right.
But I remember like sitting there then, and I think you might started talking about Tupac and started or talking about like the streets and about life.
Probably something deep. That's what I do. Absolutely.
I remember sitting there like watching you talk and being like just paying so close attention to how like, the way you articulate and tell stories and how emotional you get.
Absolutely. I mean, when you go through things like we did, and I went a little deeper, it just, I don't know. And to be able to share that with people and explain it to them. And I seen you as a little younger version of me in some ways, you know what I mean? And we hit it off. We connected. I remember you came over to Columbus Park and we were like, come play football, man. You're like, I don't know, man. I don't know. And I'm gonna come through, man. Come play. You'll love it. And sure enough, you come through. And then that's when you got introduced to me, Fad. I mean, you may have before that, but Mez was right up the street from you. I mean, it was you clicked right away. It was like you were supposed to be where we were at. You know what I mean? It was nothing different than that. That's what it was.
I was deathly afraid of you and Matt King at that time. Remember?
There was a reason to be afraid back then. There really was.
No doubt. So when the reason how I got connected to that neighborhood was Graham's used to babysit Jimmy and Daryl. Jim Savko is just connected with him on Facebook. Hopefully he'll be tuning in. But so they were younger than me. I think I was like 12 or I was like 9 when I first started hanging out over there because Graham started when I was about that age. But then we moved over onto Cherry Street when I was like 11 or 12. And I knew of you and Matt through Lucky. Remember Lucky?
Yeah, damn right. I remember Lucky.
So Lucky was my friend over there, and he used to talk about you guys like you guys were like the Lost Boys, man. You guys were like Pony Boy. You guys were like the outsiders. You know what I mean? Like y'all are legends.
Yeah. Well, we had to stand up for ourselves. You know what I mean? We were brought up in an area where it wasn't. Mostly it was no white people, you know what I mean? And then I had to battle every other race. And I was cool with that. And I was like, white boys got some too. I want to let y'all know that we got some too. We ain't going to sit down and just sit here and get whooped on. We got something for you. We had to prove a point to be left alone. It wasn't because we did it because we were crazy maniacs. We did it to be left alone. You know what I mean? We stood up for ourselves so people would stop fucking with us.
Yeah, man, and think about that because I know and yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just real quick. So what kind of haircut are we doing?
So as much hair as you can fit in the peanut corn, keep it all. And anything that doesn't fit in the peanut corn, draw the line there.
Like a hard line.
Make it look good.
All right.
Fade the line.
On the sides, yeah, taper the sides, like a hard line and then from there down, like high and tight or whatever.
All right, so we're supposed to be focused on this cut, so we can get back to this shaving you got going on.
Well, no, because I want to finish that point out because that's true. That it definitely, if there was definitely a wide arrangement of races and cultures present over on Lower East Side or Lower West Side. Mm-hmm. And, what's funny is that the people that I was most afraid of when I first started playing football with you guys. The people I was most afraid of when it came to the football game was on, everybody was cool. But then the football game was off, that's when shit got hectic, And the people when you're talking about the people that we had to stand up against, those are the people that by the time we were 17, 18, 19, 20, those were our boys. You know what I mean? Like you grow in age and you work it out. When you're young,
well, that's where the respect came in for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, but then that's why we did it. We didn't do it to, try to really hurt anybody. They started messing with us, so we had to stand up for ourselves. And me and Matt King particularly were the ones who did most of the standing up in the situations. We had to.
It's ironic
We
because
had to.
y'all, pound for pound, y'all. I mean, not pound for pound, but just pound wise, y'all weren't the heavyweights, but pound for
No.
pound, you were.
We were quick. Little men are quick. You know what I mean? We can move real fast.
Speaking of Matt King, man, how's he living? You still in touch with him? I ain't hollered at him in a minute.
I hang out with him or talk to him every single day.
Oh yeah,
You
shout out,
know?
man.
Yeah, he's doing great. He's doing good. Matt's doing his thing.
It's good to hear,
He's
man.
he's a crazy Detroit Lions fan that tries to tell me everything about Pittsburgh. I'm like, man, you're a Lions fan. Stop trying to tell me about my team. Because deep inside, he's a Steelers fan.
Yeah, of course he is. Just like for 10 years, I rocked the Barry Sanders jersey, and I was always a Steelers fan. I always wanted, anytime the Steelers and the Lions played, I always wanted the Steelers to win and Barry to get his.
But Barry was a beast. He was unlike any other. Like, you look good, man. I'm glad to see you smiling. You got a great smile there, young man.
Oh man, I got it from watching you, Bizzy B. But keep this out there. This hit you in the heart, man. When me and D Rex was catching up this summer, and we were learning about each other because we were friends in high school, but we weren't aced booms, and we'd grown apart, and we didn't know each other very well either before high school. And she was telling me about how she lived over near Cheryl and Marty's house before I ever did, and how she went to school with like she was talking about Tomas and Rayshawn and you and all that crew, like you guys before I ever did.
We had a click.
Oh yeah,
that was our boys, and it was just, I mean, just like you when you came in, it was just it was like it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? It wasn't accidental that you were there, bro. Just know that, believe that.
I appreciate that, man. I definitely, I was definitely lonely, for a lot during my my childhood, because there wasn't very many adults present in the house, and the ones that were usually weren't awake until they were drinking. And so,
me too.
When I was in, when I was in junior high, I was going to school at Roosevelt, and that's where I seen all you guys. But I wasn't kicking it with you until like ninth grade is when I started playing football with y'all.
You came over finally. You would just kind of just do your thing. I always peeped you. You know what I mean? I kept an eye on you, and I just kind of knew you'd come kick it with us. So, but I mean, I so many times we talk, man. It's just good to see you where you're at, brother. For real. More than anything, I love you. And you know that. And so the smile is getting me great right now. I'm not gonna get emotional because there's no reason to, but it's great to see you, man. It's great to see my friend.
Well, to peep this out, because I always hit you up whenever I come home, and
I know you do.
I don't know if you caught it earlier on the podcast though, but Key-Rod got me a ticket to the Steelers Raiders game.
All right.
So Christmas Eve, me and Key-Rod were going to be at the Steelers Raiders game in Pittsburgh.
I can probably make that work, and I'm pretty serious. Yeah, I can probably make that work. Ricky, my nephew, is a cop down there, and I go down there a lot more often nowadays because he's on Pittsburgh SWAT. He's a beast. Ricky Dillamone, shout out. But yeah, he's holding it down there. So I go down there all the time now. So I would absolutely run into you, even if I don't get in the game. I'll find you.
Oh, we'll get you in the game, bro. Don't worry about that, bro. So let's talk about that a little bit, man. Here, I'm kind of like, okay, no, yeah, you're okay. Thank you. I'm sorry that I can't give you a proper embrace. But getting an outsider's perspective, this is getting caught up in a minute. I'm not going to put any words in your mouth. Would you mind, please, trying to describe to me from your perspective what the Get Busy Living project is to you to include this podcast?
Absolutely. So the Get Busy Living podcast, to me, in my own words, is there's a lot of, this is what I think about. There's people out there that were like us, right? Grew up alcoholic parents. My mom was addicted to drugs. My dad was a Hell's Angel, and I was the youngest of 4 kids. So I got the shit of all of it, right? I never had anything new ever. And I went weeks without eating, starved, slept in vans, right? So this is where it takes me. It takes me to what happens to you as a child is not your fault. But once you become an adult, you got to figure it out and get busy living. You got to like it. Nothing, no matter what your life was like, there's still an opportunity for you to get busy living. Period. No matter what. I mean, you can come from the gutter. I was in the gutter. I there was weeks where I didn't eat, and my sister would force me to drink water, and I would just throw it back up because I'm like, "What's the point?" And she would like, "Because you need the water in your system." And so I drank the water, and a few minutes later, I threw it back up because there was no food. And so that sucked. I had it put me. It made me look at the world like, what the hell did I do? Like what you know what I mean? What did I do to deserve this shit? So once I became an adult and I ran into people like you and I learned the ropes of life, and you know what you got to accomplish and do to get busy living, then you just got to go do it. You know what I mean? There's no excuses. It's up to you. Just go do it. Whatever it might be, don't. A lot of the people in Erie, Pennsylvania, especially, they blame their past on why their future is going to be so messed up, and it kills me because when you blame other people for your circumstance, then only they can change it. You know what I mean? You got to recognize that you have to be the one to change it. It's up to you. And get busy living is to just do what you got to do, especially when you're an adult. When you're a kid, you can't control what happens to you. But once you're an adult, and whatever your circumstance, whatever it might be, mine was growing up poor, going hungry. Others people might be, being blind. Whatever the case may be, whatever your handicap or whatever your story in life, you can still get busy living. You can still do what you got to do. You just gotta wrap your mind around it and go get it done.
Amen, brother. I'm hoping to. Oh, I'm getting some feedback here. I wonder why that's happening. It wasn't feeding back before. Do you hear feedback?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. She got a nice little stroke with her clippers. She's doing well.
When I talk, are you hearing feedback?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Are you hearing feedback?
Oh, am I hearing feedback?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear everything you say.
Okay, so what I was I forgot exactly what we were talking about there because that feedback.
You said, "What does get busy living mean to me?"
Yeah, and I'm hoping that people are gathering that in this stage right now. It's brand new, and I don't expect to have a world-class audience right now.
And that's okay.
I hope that the word gets out of the project that I'm trying to put together here. I'm not trying to put any money in my pockets. All
No.
I'm trying to do is send a message to everybody that if I can come out of literally out of
Damn
a
right.
rubble, rescued by complete strangers, and pull myself together and keep my mind right in order to stay motivated and get back on my feet, I can come out of a pile of rubble.
My man.
And I know this, bro. I know that luckily I was given some skills and talents that have helped me out and that are useful in this life. And there's plenty of my people that have been gifted skills and talents that get them other things, but don't get them the things that we measure success with, right?
Right.
So the message I'm trying to send with this is get at me. If you have a desire to get busy living, but you haven't found a way to make your talents and skills work for you so that you're able, get at me, and we can talk about it, because this podcast in time is going to relay a message to the audience that, what it takes to get busy living. It starts with your mindset.
It starts with your mind. Yeah. Get your mind right. And if you believe you can do something and you put it's cliche, right? Like you hear it all the time, but if you wrap your mind around something and you want to get something done, you'll do it. You'll do it. It'll be done. You just gotta literally just wrap your mind around it. You know what I mean? Like, and if you want to do something, people do it. When people are lazy and they sit back and they think about it and they're like, yeah, I want to do this. Go do it. Just go do it. You know what I mean? Like it takes time, it takes effort, anything you do. Like I always told my kids, they're like, man, I ain't very good at this. I'm like, well, practice it. Practice. The more time you spend with it, the better you'll be. You'll be okay.
Amen.
And if you love it, like you'll if you love it, you'll be good at it. Period.
I love that. Rayetta was my mom's name. And you don't hear me talk about Rayetta very often, not because there's not love. I got mad love for mom. She was more like my big sister, In fact, I called her Rayetta until I was like 7 years old. Anyway, she gave me some pointers, but not nearly on the level that Grams did. And there's a couple things I remember what Mom told me. A couple things that Mom told me. First of all, she said my mom taught me how to drive in her little Chevy Cavalier wagon, and she was like, "Honey," she was like, "always remember when you're parking, if you have time, back into your parking spot because you never know if you're going to be in a hurry to leave."
Yeah, right. Exactly.
So that tidbit stuck with me. Another bit of information Mom shared with me that stuck with me was never trust anybody that asks you to. If they say
Trust me. Yeah.
You're like, trust me, and don't.
Yeah, don't do that.
And then the last thing that she said that really stood out to me, man, was she said, find something in life that you're really good at, that you love doing. If you love doing it, get really good at it. And if you get good enough at it, eventually somebody will pay you to do it, and that will be your success.
Absolutely. And that's stuck in your head.
To be honest, man, that is a lot easier said than done. You know,
yes, it
finding
is.
something that you truly love is hard. And then the odds that it is something that if you get really good at it, you can earn money doing it and it could be your path to success is doubly hard. So, you know, for those of you out there that are watching this podcast and you have things that you truly love, and you're super good at them, but they are not your tickets to getting busy living, that's okay. Get at me. We can figure out a way. You know, maybe you have other attributes that aren't easily tangible to get paid doing, but you have talents that other people that are useful in some way, shape, or form.
Hell yeah.
Really,
Absolutely.
I'm really putting myself out here, Biz. I'm making myself 100% readily accessible to the whole world.
I love it.
The world had that access to me when I needed it, and that's why I'm still here.
Absolutely. Damn right. The people do need access to you. And the thing is with Erie people are just, I don't know, man. There's a way about Erie people, right? And so I can't believe more people aren't reaching out to you. You know, I when I walk through this city, your name comes up, bro. Believe that. It does. And I'm like, yo, he's got a podcast. Check it out. Like, you guys should hit him up on Facebook. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, go check the podcast out. I'm like, you'll love it. You'll just get to kick it with your boy, and then you get to, you know, catch up with people from different lives and doing different things, and you know, you might learn a thing or two instead of kicking it at Otis 12 eating wings all day or whatever the case may be, or Haggerty's playing the gambling machine. Get your ass out. You know what I mean? But you know, you're competing against Thursday night football, so hey, listen, much respect, dude. Believe that. Thursday night NFL football, you're battling them right now. So I'm with you.
It's funny you mentioned that too, because D-Rex was she has been very integral in this whole process, and
I see that. I've been watching.
Available. So I let her know in the beginning that we were going to be competing with primetime TV and football, and unfortunately that's the best we could work out. But it's okay because football season ends in February.
Indeed. So why not get your feet wet?
Yeah, and we're just learning right now. You know, like this is the beginning when we're learning everything. We might change nights, we might not. I'm sorry, that's a muscle spasm. But speaking of Erie people, man, I got so much love for Erie people, babe. I can't control that. That's my body muscle spasm. I have no control of that. So below I can't feel my nipples. Everything below there moves on its own when it feels like it. So, speaking of Erie people, man, I'm so proud to be from Erie. The things about myself that I'm most proud of, that I fight tooth and nail not to change, are things that I get from Erie. The loyalty, you know, the edge, you know, the stance, the position, the mindset, you know, the toughness.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. Especially in our neighborhood. It was Little Italy.
Absolutely. It's not an easy life in Erie, man. The people, those of you guys that are still there, and when I say still there, there's not very many people that have left. But the fact that you're still there, to me, is a testament to your toughness and a testament to your loyalty. You know what I mean? A lot of people could leave if they wanted, but they love each other. You know what I mean? You know, Biz, there's a lot of motherfuckers in that city that love you and don't want to leave because you're there. And look,
absolutely.
I don't want you guys to I don't want you to misconstrue my message like, oh, you left, so does that mean you don't love us? Bro, you don't know how much I love you. I come back to that.
I don't believe that.
Love.
Yeah, I know the love we have. Like we spent many a night, Swede. I mean, countless nights and spent time and shared stories and just swapped love. That's what we did, man. We, you know, you've been a big part of my life too. Believe that. There's no doubt about it, bro. You have been integral in many ways. You know what I mean?
I appreciate
Believe
that.
you come up. You know what I mean? You're a topic. I bring you up as much as possible. It don't matter if you ain't here. People know who the fuck you are. You know what I'm saying? And they know you kicked it with me. So the people that love us love us. If you know, we can try to reach the other ones and try to make them love us too. But I know which ones love us. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
man. There's no doubt. Oh, hey, is that your doorbell? His or mine? If you're blonde and beautiful, come in. They must not be blonde and beautiful.
Hey, but yeah, I love the Steelers. I love the Steelers towel on the back or the the little flag. That's my man. Hey, what do you? I mean, I don't want to take over the after party, but what do you think about the Steelers? What do you think they should do? What like so for me, I'm okay
Hold
with
on,
them
hold on,
losing.
hold on. Somebody's at my door. What is it? Some random person knocking on my door. Like I don't understand what they're saying. Because I'm expecting my friends who could be showing up, and they are blonde and beautiful. So I thought that was them ringing the doorbell.
That's
So about the
you're
Steeler talk, Biz. Let's do a podcast, Steeler talk. Let's meet.
absolutely. I told Tomas this. He's not listening.
Oh, Tomas would be excellent.
Yes, sir.
Tomas is the first name that D Rex brought up when she started talking about the fact that she grew up in that neighborhood before I got there.
Yes.
And all bullshit aside, shout out Tomas. Like 2 days later, he popped up, added me as a friend, like because I guess his old Facebook that I had wasn't there. So somehow the universe told Tomas, "Yo, Tomas Swede was talking to you or something."
Yeah.
And me and Tomas didn't kick it a lot like me and you, and but me and you kicked it far more than about anybody else in Erie, honestly. But
Right.
and then Ray's right up there. Me and Ray got mad love. We spent
Yeah.
mad hours together.
Hell yeah.
But
Damn right.
Tomas,
I still kick it with Ray.
I must love that motherfucker too. Me and Tomas ain't got the mad hours, but it's mad real. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's unique,
Yeah.
man. Got so much love for that.
Tom's a different type of dude, and I love that. I love that we all are so unique in our way. You know what I mean? But we're all so similar in so many ways. But we're all still super unique. You know, I love that. That's our crew. That's who we are. It's
bro.
that's
And
how we roll.
I think it would come out if we did a Steelers podcast too.
No, I talked to Tomas about it. I said, Tomas, if there's anyone I'm gonna do a podcast with you, it's you, bro. And I'm like, I know that you're cerebral enough to wrap your head that we can do this. And Tom's he's a lot like me in many ways, a lot like you. And he's like, all right, but then life. Listen, life has what I like to call the whirlwind, right? You have things you want to do in life, but then the whirlwind grabs you. And all the things you're supposed to be doing, this whirlwind scoops you up, and the next thing you know, you're way the fuck over here doing some other shit. And I'm like, I gotta go over here. I got shit to do over here. But the whirlwind of life sometimes doesn't allow you to do that, right? So I try the plans. If I tell you I'm gonna be somewhere, I'm gonna try to be there. That's all I can do. My word, I'm like Scarface. That's what I got. If I ain't got nothing else, because I grew up without not much of anything. So if my word don't mean anything, then who the fuck am I? So it's all about my word. You know what I mean? So I really want to see you in Pittsburgh. Like I said, whether inside or out, I'm coming, bro. I'll be there Christmas Eve, no matter what.
I'm so glad you brought that up because that brings me back on a tangent. So that's what maybe ask you about your opinion on the Get Busy Living podcast, because really what I'm trying to do, right? I'm trying to grow the revenues with the viewership and the nonprofit. That's why I founded a nonprofit, so y'all could donate and get it as a tax write-off. You know what I mean?
Let's get it. Good idea. Thank you.
To help people get the treatments that I'm searching to get, and then throw this party and then get people on it. So imagine
that's a wonderful idea.
Imagine a time in the future when like the first podcast of the month is when we go over last month's goings on. And,
right.
We say, yo, last month we sold this many shirts. Last month we had this many people chip in. Last month we raised this much. 1/3 of it goes to that. 1/3 of it goes to that, and 1/3 of it goes towards bringing y'all on a project. So
right.
We look at the donations list and we pull a name out of the hat, and oh shit, Biz, you're the winner. And so we're going here next month. We're going here the month after that. We're going here the month after that.
That's awesome.
Can you come on? And then we pay for people to come on the trips with us.
No doubt. That's amazing. That's such an amazing thing, because there's so many people, especially Erie people, that never go anywhere. They never leave. I know people. Obviously, I was in the Marines, so I've been a lot of different places, but I come back and I go someplace with someone and they're like, "This is the first time I've been in Pittsburgh." I'm like, "You're an hour and a half away from Pittsburgh. Why did you not ever? You're 42. You've never been to Pittsburgh? Like, I don't get it." But you know, that's a lot of Erie people are like that. Erie is like this. I could leave Erie for 10 years, come back, and everyone's sitting on the same bar stool. You know this. Like, people do the same shit in Erie over and over again. They don't expand their mind outside of doing the same shit. Like, open your freaking mind up and go do something different. You know what I'm saying? I'm here. I have a plan. I love Erie, but I'm leaving soon. I have a 14-year-old daughter. She graduates. The kids are grown. It's time for me to go. You know what I mean? And I will always come back to Erie. Erie's my heart. But I can't wait to leave in a way. But home is home, man. So, and my family's here. My mom just turned 75. Like, I'll be back, but I gotta go. That's just
I'll be honest with you, bro. I've been around the world, and Erie is not unique. Those people that are the ones you're describing that are perfectly happy, they'll be watching this podcast someday, and they'll be like, "This is talking about me." And they're perfectly happy with it. And there's people like that in every city, in every country, in every in the world.
No doubt. You're absolutely right.
To be there. And part of me loves that because I know when I go back to Erie, I know that I got some people there, that I can that I can rely on them to be just as funny and just as cool and just as down to earth and just as loyal as they ever were from when we were back.
I just remember you and Jesse at midnight with the Outcast albums. We gotta go get the album at midnight, running up to the damn mall at 12 or probably 11:30 at night to get Outcast. Like, I mean, that's Erie to me though, right? Like, we grew up like kids, and that's the difference between, to me, the kids today. They grew up with technology. I get it, but get your ass outside and go see some shit. Like, go check something out that ain't on the screen. Like, there's all kinds of shit out there. You just gotta go check it out. I don't know. We were outside, man. This is what I say to people. I'm like, listen, when we were kids, we could get 9-on-9 playing a baseball game. You guys can't even get 2-on-2 in basketball. Like,
right?
Where are the people at? Get to the courts. And so I don't know. Everyone's caught up in a lot of things. The thing I loved about us being kids is we were on the streets being kids.
Yeah.
Weren't we?
Well, we were able to became assholes.
Yeah. Right. But we learned, we played, we did all of that. We ran the streets, but we kept it real. We weren't looking for violence, but sometimes it would come. But more than anything, we wanted to have fun, be around each other, kick it with, learn from each other. That's all we're out here doing, and I got a chance to do that. So while my childhood was so horrible when it comes to parents, it was so good when it comes to my friends, right? I got friends that are unbelievable, and they would do anything at any given time and drop what they're doing. But I would do the same for them, and they know it. If it came down to it, I'm there, And Tupac had a lot to do with that. When my homies call, you're damn fucking right. You're damn right. That's where I'll be. Because who you got without your homies? That's who I had. I didn't have parents, but I had y'all. I had you. You know what I mean? I had you, bro. So that's all. I'm okay with that. Even though it sucked when I went home and there was stupid shit going on and no food. When I was with y'all, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even give a fuck about. I didn't. My brain wasn't there yet because I was having too much fun with you. You know what I mean? That's all that really mattered to me. So while my childhood sucked to hell high heaven, and I used to count roaches on the wall like a fucking game, being with y'all was that's all I really wanted to do. And that's all I really ever wanted to do is be with my boys.
Yeah, man. I mean, and when I think about Erie, that's the first word that comes to my mind is friendship, man. I've made a lot of great friends traveling, but there's nothing like my Erie people, man. Like there's some of them that I chat with regularly, like Key Rod's major in my life. Dave Brown and I chat often, and you don't chat as often as we should. But then I got
whirlwind, bro, whirlwind.
Yeah, they like when we do catch up, it's like not even a day has gone by,
Right. It's always going to be like that. That's
man,
he's my brother, bro.
So yesterday was Roach's birthday. Happy birthday, Chris Roach.
No
And I
doubt.
back and forth with him and forever, and I saw his birthday, so I gave him a shout, and I would love to catch up with him, man. And like Fatty
I see
called
him.
me,
I see him every day.
Fatty called me about
I
a month
work
ago,
with him.
man. I was so happy that Fatty called me. It's so good to hear his voice, man. I can't. So look,
Yeah,
this is real. I'm coming home for New Year's.
no doubt. That's the perfect time to come home.
Get Busy Living Project is going to be in Erie on New Year's Day. So
Hell yeah.
we're gonna go to
Damn right.
We're gonna go to the Steelers game for Christmas. I'm gonna go kick it with my family up in the mountains for a little bit, and then I'm gonna come kick it down with my family at the lake for New
That
Year's.
you know what? You just made my whole brand new year, bro. You
Uh-huh.
literally just made my New Year's. I mean, the New Year's is tough for me, and I won't share on here why, but family losses and shit. It always reminds me of some things that were tough. But for you to come, you're gonna set a new era for me with the New Year's. I love that. I love that Sweet's coming to town on New Year's.
But yeah,
I'm serious. I swear to God, I think this town needs you right now, bro. Like seriously, like dead ass, bro. I'm not even making this shit up. I'm dead ass serious. I need people to see you and what you're doing and how you're going about your life, and they need you to come here. I feel like the homies talk about you. I hear your name, bro. But I'm like, we get on the podcast, but I don't see anybody, right? So I think that's a wonderful idea, man. I mean, I don't know why you planned it or why you come here, but I love that you are.
man, I'll tell you why. Because I need to get grounded, man. I need to remember. I need to remember. You know what I mean? Like I'm out
And I
here.
think I think other people need to remember too.
I'm out here in Phoenix, and it's a big city, and I'm living a different kind of life. So it's
Yeah,
like it's not easy to make friends, from a wheelchair, and
no
it
doubt.
bro, you can't go anywhere and make friends like you can get in Erie. So I was lost already there, but
Right.
just so I want to come home, man, because I need to get reminded, about what it feels like, what that love
No
is,
doubt.
really love is like, you know what I mean?
I love that. I
And that's
love
why,
that.
and that's why, so this podcast started in September, and we've just been trying new things every week and seeing what sticks. And we're not professionals at this, but um,
Yeah, I
so
wouldn't even care about that. You
we're
can
calling this
build
like
your
the
own brand of
preseason.
podcast.
Yeah, for sure. We're calling this like the preseason. And we want season one to start in January, and we want it to start in Erie. We're both Diana and I both started. You know what I mean? Doesn't that make
Yeah.
sense?
But yeah, hello, Diana. Listen. I've been watching y'all. A couple times I missed it, but I catch up, bro. You're my fucking boy, man. I love you. Like,
Love
and I spread love. That's why you coming here is huge. That's a big deal. I think people start remember Swede, motherfucker. Just because he's not here, don't mean you don't remember him. He's still here. He's coming to town. So for real, for me, that's my gift. I ain't got gifts in years, so that's great to hear. Seriously, man, it's great to hear.
Hold up, P. Hold on a second. Yeah, Z, she's gonna trip you up. Tell Paloma a story about us in childhood. What's something you remember
All
about?
right, I'll tell you a story. All right, so one time, I think I was still in the Marines, and we went to Indiana University, University of Indiana, and I don't know how I became, I was in between this, that, or the other thing, and so I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. So we go we go to Indiana, and we start some shenanigans in the car on the way to Indiana, and we just go to the university. We have nobody there that we know. We just show up at the university, right? And we know it's and it's a Saturday, I think, and college football. I think the Hoosiers were hot, whatever. And so we find a party, and at the college, we find a party. We take the party over, and we literally just represent ourselves in the only way that Erie can represent ourselves by taking over the party that wasn't ours. It was awesome, but we just I mean I don't know how much I can share, right? So
Share it all, Biz. We couldn't hide.
right, share it all. So we took some sugar cubes that probably had a little bit of acid on it. So we got down. We it was just and all we did, literally, all we did was show love to everyone we ever met and try to boost their energy. Everybody. And in some ways we try to find out a way to get us some beer or whatever, or get us into a bigger party. But I don't know, man. There's so many memories. The first memory I have though is when you came over. The first real memory, like I would see you, and I was in schools and passing through the neighborhood, no big deal. But the first memory I have is you coming to Columbus Park when we were playing football. Because how many we have 10-on-10. You know what I mean? We had. That's what I try to tell these kids. We could get 25 people to show up at the park and play against each other, 12-on-12, and a couple of subs in the waiting. I'm like, you kids can't even get you can't even play basketball against each other. You can't get 5-on-5. Where's all your boys? Where's your homies at? Like you guys are sitting in the crib looking at these screens. Where are your friends? Go hang out at the damn basketball court or the soccer damn field or the base, whatever you want to do. Go to play piano and drums. Create a band for Christ's sakes. But stop staring at these damn screens, bro. And even though I'm staring at the screen right now, I was a kid. I didn't think about stuff like that, man. You know what I mean? Get your ass outside and go somewhere. That's what we want to do, right? Am I not am I not preaching the truth to this?
I
Like
think it
we,
comes down to the parents, though. Like,
I
if
mean,
the
it's technology. It's technology. It's
but
absolutely
technology
technology.
is the parent.
The parents got to shut that down. No doubt
Yeah.
about it. Limit. So the biggest mistake that I've learned that from my first child to my damn third child is you gotta. If you say you're gonna do something, do it. If you tell your kid they're gotta go to bed at 9 p.m. because they did some dumb shit, make sure they go to bed at 9 p.m. Because from my first child to my second child, I learned that. Me and Deb would be having a ball of a time around 8:45. And he's like, Dad, I don't want to go to bed. I'm like, all right, you're good. Go ahead, stay up till 10. That ruined me with him. You know what I mean? That killed me with Deb. Because now this dude's like, from that point, they think that your word don't really mean shit. My phone's about to die. But hold on. But yeah, it's crazy, man. I don't know. We were just different style of kids. We grew up in a different era. I get that. Technology wasn't as relevant in our lives as they are nowadays with these kids. But damn, man. Like, I don't know. I just feel like the best way to make friends is go do stuff with them and not play TikTok all the damn time. But yeah, parents are a big deal. They got to hold their kids responsible for what they do and just say, "Hey, 2 hours, you're done." And then once the 2 hours are up, tell them to get the hell off the damn screen. That's what parenting is.
People don't know how to do that.
Hey, she's making you look real nice. I
really-
I can dig it.
Cut him.
You don't want it?
Cut it. Make it look as good as you want it.
Yeah, you feel good now.
Yeah, Richard got the color.
BIZ,
You took this long though.
BIZ, I want to tell you about my girl here, La Paloma. Hey, she's got an edge like she would fit in right over there on Cherry Street, right over there on 26th Street.
Yeah.
She bro, she had my back one night, and you want to talk about racial tension? There was some racial tension, and she went against the grain to get my back, and
That's what's up.
and we clicked the day we met, right, P?
Yeah.
And I appreciate what she did, man, for me then, and she's just had my back ever since. Like the day we met, like I met her at Starbucks, and we were just getting coffee, and then just started shooting the breeze. Next thing you know, it's like 10 o'clock at night, and we're still jabbers on, like trading war stories.
Yeah, trading war stories, getting to know each other.
That was 2 years ago, and all the people that I hang out with in my life in Phoenix right now, I met her first before any of them other people.
And that means something. Believe that. That was no mistake, if you ask me. That's just supposed to happen. Listen, we meet people on purpose, not on accident.
We attract our vibe attracts our tribe, and I'm telling you, man, she's real.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why she's so close to you in your face. Because otherwise, you could have a razor to your neck.
See where it goes.
Hey, but I don't know if I'm about to lose power, but it's looking like it, brother. Hey, I'll be back in touch. This charger is not acting right for me.
You're good, dog.
I love you. Hey, I'll be in touch. Hey, I want to see I'll see the final product tomorrow morning when I wake up.
I love you, brother.
Love you,
Give
man.
me a little party after party.
Bye, Diana. D-Rex.
Oh, D-Rex,
Like-
she'll be watching the review show. She'll see you.
Okay. All right, brother. Love you, man.
Love you too, brother. Thank you.
Peace out.
It's me and you, P. I don't know where this is going to go, this podcast thing, if it's going to blow up and make us all famous, or if it's going to just be something I do for the rest of my life to have fun. But I'm enjoying it.
I think that podcast, like, as long as you're consistent, it'll definitely make its way, like, to blow up. It literally just comes down to like consistency. Like if you're consistent, like it'll get to whatever it is that you want to get to. But some people they're consistent for a little bit, don't see the outcome that they want right away, and they just give up. And that's what usually that's what separates individuals from continuing to go hard, and then those who just kind of throw in the towel when things get tough.
That's why I'm not trying to like make videos that people are searching for. I'm not trying to like, be a YouTuber. I'm trying to like host an opportunity for my people to catch up with me where we can kick it. That's really what this is about. You know what I mean? And the revenues that was generated by you catching up with me and us kicking it, I'm trying to help, trying to help other people. I'm trying to throw the party that I owe, and I'm trying to get my friends out there getting busy living. Like I really just want to see what the power of friendship can build. Like maybe right now in the first couple of months, like he was talking about. Never had anybody cut my beard before.
Well, I'm gonna keep the goatee. I think the goatee, like, suits you. I'm gonna make sure it's all cleaned up though. But I mean, right off the bat, it's looking like it's all coming together. Hey, can you back your shirt up real quick though, so I can get underneath?
Thanks, D-Rex. I got so much love for you, girl. Could be a living podcast, baby. Today is P.
What?
It's a great day to be alive.